Alrighty, what's up, Toonami faithful? Time for another panel. First off, hope you guys are having a great time at the moment. It's the last night of the con. Tomorrow might be a little groggy in the morning, but yeah, hope you guys having a fun time so far. I just want to say, if you're new to this panel, welcome. If you've been down from the beginning, all I can say is thanks. Time to get this started. This is History of Toonami, a look back at one of the biggest channel blocks of all time, created by me, Jackson Bell. So first off, what even is Toonami? Well, Toonami is a space-themed block on Cartoon Network that showcases action cartoons. Its name is a combination of the words tsunami and cartoons, hence Toonami. It was created by Jason DeMarco and skater/designer Sean Akins. The shows range from various animated Western cartoons. It has CGI characters that served as the block's hosts and assistants, all of whom were full personality and character. And it had story arcs that expanded on the block's universe. Now then, let's start from the very tippy top, with Cartoon Network. So Cartoon Network is a channel created in 1992 by Turner Broadcasting and Hanna-Barbera. It was also owned by Warner Brothers. The channel was meant to showcase old Hanna-Barbera cartoons to kids 24/7. The original programming started to surface in 1993 with the introduction of Space Ghost Coast to Coast. So Coast to Coast was the first original show created by Cartoon Network, and at the time, its most popular. It took an obscure 60s cartoon character and made him the crazy host of a surreal talk show, along with his sidekicks Moltar and Roderick. The show ran from 1993 to 2008, making it the longest-running original show on Cartoon Network. The show was so popular, it received 4 spin-offs. There's Cartoon Planet, a block with Space Ghost and Friends aired old Hanna-Barbera cartoons. The Brack Show, a parody of sitcoms. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And last but not least, Toonami. Created in 1997, Toonami acted as a replacement for the Power Zone, an action block on Cartoon Network created 5 years prior that really wasn't all that interesting. So Toonami aired action cartoons for 3 hours on every weekday afternoons. The block also has some surprising high production values given that it utilized CGI animation, which is pretty expensive in the late 90s. So on March 17th, 1997, Toonami premiered to the world, this video being the first thing children were introduced to.
This broadcast is intended solely for the enjoyment of our audiences. Any rebroadcast, broadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent and the consent of Toonami and Cartoon Network is strictly prohibited.
And now for the characters. First we have Moltar, voiced by animator C. Martin Croker. Once a scientist from the planet Moltar, Moltar was a former supervillain before being forced to work with Space Ghost on his talk show. Originally Space Ghost's programming director and producer, he later became the host of Toonami, hosting the blog and Ghost Planet Industries. He had a very baritone voice that was perfect for discussing topics related to him, like villainy. Moltar hosted the blog from 1997 to 1999. But he wasn't alone, as there were also the Clydes. They were Toonami's living satellites who connected the station's programming to Earth, along with antennas to host servants. Now, one of the things that made Toonami stand out from other channel blocks were the bumpers. Aside from standard ads for upcoming episodes, the host would sometimes talk to viewers about relatable topics and themes, like courage, friendship, etc. They each incorporated clips from various cartoons, mainly characters talking as if they were a part of the conversation, often reacting to the host's speech. Each bumper incorporated original electronica music from Tommy Guerrero. One such bumper during the Moltar era was this.
What is that thing we're up against anyway? I'm next. Exactly. Stand there like a dummy. All right.
Listen up. Today we're talking about something very important. Villains, bad guys, bad-headed. Webster defines a villain as cruelly malicious. A scoundrel.
One more step and she's doomed.
We don't get enough credit. What's a hero without a villain?
It's a joy to see your wicked mind at work.
Bad guys make life more interesting. My favorite bad guy, beside myself, is Moltar.
That is incredibly good news.
I remember him. He seems kind of wimpy, but he's got personality.
You had it. I'm really mad at that Moltar.
And let's not forget Mumra. Another one of my favorites.
I can't believe it. That man was lucky.
Now it's not easy going out there day after day, making the world unsafe for superheroes. They always seem to come out on top.
Voltron has done it again.
Being a villain is a thankless job, but we always have more fun along the way. And that's what being bad
It's not. End it.
Yep.
So the blog also had video game reviews. These involved Moltar reviewing newly released video games, which often aired during commercial breaks. Each game is rated from a scale of 1 to 5, though unfortunately this segment was pretty underutilized, as Moltar reviewed only 7 games during his run. But one way Toonami interacted with fans was with various sweepstakes, where viewers had to dial a certain hotline during commercial breaks for a chance to win prizes, like game consoles, special events, and more. But what's a block without shows? Toonami was branded at the time as the place for action cartoons, and while I started out with a lot of Western animation, it wasn't long before they got their hands on some Japanimation. So we got, back in the old day, we had shows like Thundercats, Cartoon Roulette, which showcased full superhero cartoons like the original Space Ghost, and the original Voltron Defenders of the Universe series. However, Toonami didn't find true success until it started airing Sailor Moon. So this show premiered on the USA Network, didn't get the best ratings. Toonami swept it up because license was cheap and it became their first big hit. The show went on for a very long time, to the point where Toonami would air quote-unquote lost episodes that were really just episodes of Sailor Moon arc. Entire days were even dedicated to this show. But despite the massive popularity behind the show, Toonami, and by extension Cartoon Network, couldn't air the 5th season due to licensing issues. But don't feel bad for Toonami, as they were later strike gold once again when they got a hold of Dragon Ball Z. Which is a flop on the USA Network, before Toonami picked it up where it became the block's second biggest hit. This show became the face of the program, which solidified Toonami as, once again, the action anime block. The show ran from 1999 to 2003, with almost every day being a marathon. But it's at this point when we must say goodbye to Moltar. Moltar's time was coming, as he would leave the block in '99. No explanation was ever given, he just left. But as was later shown, hinting at a new host. And a new host comes with a new era.
So it's a brand new Toonami.
but the mission objectives remain the same. My name is Tom. I'm the new Moltar. Welcome aboard the Ghost Planet Spaceship Absolution, Cartoon Network's first and only interstellar broadcast and exploration vehicle. I'll give you the tour later. From this day forward, she is completely responsible for all Toonami transmissions. I'm taking you guys into the new millennium. No big changes now, same shows, same attitude. New place to do it, new guy to do it with. I'm not gonna waste any more time, let's get back into it. Later.
The beginning. Meet Tom, voiced by Sonny Strait. Tom stood for Toonami Operations Module, and as he said, he's the replacement Moltar, taking over hosting duties. Tom's an AI-controlled robot with personality, and a captain of Spaceship Absolution. Unlike Moltar, who discussed topics only he was really interested in, Tom is more uplifting, discussing themes like parenting, individuality, and courage. Tom hosted a blog from 1999 to 2000. Now with a new host comes new characters. Now say hello to Sarah, Tom's second-in-command and best friend. She's a very British AI, that's a terrible accent, voiced by singer Sally Timms. Sarah controls the entire Absolution. Now, I've been saying that one a lot, so what exactly is the Absolution? This was the Absolution. Full name Ghost Planet Spaceship Absolution, this ship was bought by Moltar, but he ended up not piloting it due to being afraid to venture off into space. It wasn't until Moltar saw Tom's bravery in combat when he decided to make him the ship's pilot. And with a new setting comes some new additions, including the Midnight Run, which is a block that aired late Saturday nights that showed more bloody or violent programming. It also showed various music videos from the robots at that time. Now, Midnight Run was targeted at an older audience, or cool kids who stayed up late to secretly watch some hardcore stuff. Remember when you had to whip your pants to go to bed, you snuck in to watch some cool shit? Probably scared you. But to counter that, there was also Rising Sun, which was a Saturday morning block created as an alternate counterpart to Midnight Run. Its purpose was to give fans Toonami in the morning, in case they didn't want to watch shows like Animaniacs and other Saturday morning cartoons, then they can watch Thundercats, Dragon Ball Z, and more. But the block itself was unfortunately very short-lived, only barely around for 6 months. Cancellation was due to Cartoon Network wanting to avoid competition with its sister network, the WB, who had their own popular Saturday morning block, Kids WB. Now, believe it or not, Toonami was one of the first programs that encouraged fan participation and activity via sending in artwork. Every last Friday of the month had Tom showcasing fan art of anime characters who appeared on Toonami. However, no pencil drawings or tracing were allowed. The former due to not showing up well on TV, and the latter because it's cheating. Nobody likes to see cheaters. And Toonami launched its website, which was a big deal back then. There, fans can check out cyber comics, that was phrase used before webcomics, and it could download photos to their desktop, which was really new at the time, believe it or not. But I've been babbling for too long. Let's talk about the shows, the new shows, the good stuff, such as Ronin Warriors, Batman the Animated Series, and Powerpuff Girls. But if you wanted a big hit for that era of Toonami, look no further than Mobile Gundam Suit Rain. This show was incredibly popular, and according to Toonami itself, it was the best Gundam series ever if you're asking for opinions. This show is so popular it ended up being one of 3 shows to have aired both on the normal block and uncut on Midnight Run. The other 2 being Dragon Ball Z and the new show, Tenchi Muyo. Well, the OVA at least. Now, while it was heavily censored in the afternoon for a younger audience, that didn't stop viewers from absolutely loving it. And the show contributed to the big 2000s anime boom and remains a fan favorite. But the biggest change to Toonami came in the form of TIE. TIE stands for Total Immersion Events. These are story arcs that told big stories and introduced many different characters and villains to the block's space universe. They usually played during commercial breaks. These stories were also game-changing, causing huge events to happen that would affect the block's canon, such as character death. The first of these events was The Intruder, which premiered September 18, 2000. In it, Tom notices a giant hole in the Absolution, which means something has invaded the ship. That something being a massive sentient red blob. Tom tries to fight back against an uninvited guest, but it's no use. The Intruder devours Tom whole, killing Tom, So yeah, Tom actually dies. But, with Tom now being dead, Sarah downloads his previous memories into another body, that body being Tom 2. Tom 2 and Sarah defeat the intruder by using explosives to detach the part of the ship it's currently on. Tom and Sarah then repair the absolution with the help of a fan contest and fly off into space, concluding the event. The tide brought in plenty of changes, including another new era of Toonami. Say hello to Tom 2. Voiced by Steve Bloom. And technically he's Tom 1, but now he's in a new body. He has a more humanoid look compared to Tom 1's Bomberman design. He's more cockier, but a lot more charming. And it was his era that contributed to the big anime boom of the early 2000s. He relied more on fan participation than any other host before or after him. Tom 2 had hosted blogs in 2000 and 2003. Tom 2's blog introduced fans to new shows like Outlaw Star, The Big O, Card Captors, and the original Dragon Ball. There is also Yu Yu Hakusho, which despite its popularity, didn't get the best treatment, sadly. It was moved at 4:30 a.m. on Saturdays, and it was heavily censored on Toonami. And for some weird reason, they had Hamtaro. You can thank Cartoon Network executives for that one. Now, when something's popular, there's always going to be someone trying to replicate its success. And in this case, it's the Kids WB. Because Toonami was really gaining popularity, Kids WB decided to create their own Toonami block on the channel. They did so by chopping off an hour of Cartoon Network's Toonami block, which ended up canceling Sailor Moon and Tenchi Muyo in the process. This version of Toonami was later canceled in 2002 due to negative reception and bad ratings. Thus, Cartoon Network's Toonami reigned supreme. Alright, get the kids out of the pool, because now it's time for the creation of Adult Swim. Adult Swim is a program on Cartoon Network created by former head of programming Mike Lazo that launched September 2nd, 2001. The program, given its namesake, showcased cartoons primarily targeted towards teenagers and, of course, adults. Original shows such as Aqua Teen and Home Movies debuted here, while Space Ghost made the jump and became more raunchier to best suit the higher broadcast standards of adultness. Adult Swim sometimes ran anime late Saturday nights, though not much advertising was given to these shows, with the exception of their favorite anime, Fooly Cooly. But a new era comes with some new ties. After all, the first one was a success, so why not another one? This time it's Lockdown, which airs September 17th, 2001. While traveling through space one day, the Absolution gets caught in a powerful tractor beam. So Tom sends these robots called Docs out in order to get them out of the beam, but they can only be piloted by you, the fans. Tom used the Dragon Ball Z ad in order to tell viewers to log on to the Toonami website and control the Docs to get them out. And after one flash game that's now lost to time later, the Absolution is saved, and the block can now continue. But next up is Type 3, Trapped in Hyperspace, which premiered September 16, 2002. Tom and Sarah are traveling back to Earth. Things are going great when suddenly, Sarah gets hijacked by a chaotic virus named Swayzak, voiced by Michael Dorn. Swayzak wants to crash the Absolution to Earth. Why? Because he can. So Tom ends up defeating the virus for good, once again thanks to an online flash game that's also lost to time, and Sarah is saved. Though what couldn't be saved was Tom 2's hosting duties. For which are coming to an end. But thankfully, according to the Cartoon Network, Toonami will return with a new Tom, a new Absolution, new shows, and all with the same personality. But before that, let's delve into some important supplementary material. Toonami Endgame was a 2-issue webcomic that came out in 2003, originally located on the Toonami website. It can be found today on the Toonami fan wiki. In it, an evil space pirate named Ocelot Rex kidnaps Sarah to rule the galaxy and blows up the Absolution for good measure. Despite Tom 2's attempt at trying to stop him, Rex manages to utterly decimate Tom 2 and dump his remains in the trash. But all isn't lost, as Tom gets rebuilt by Rex's rebellious slaves and becomes Tom 3, where Plenty kills Rex by stabbing him with a fork. It makes sense in context. So Sarah's saved, a new ship is acquired, and Tom 3 gets to become the new host of the show. Speaking of which...
You guys got 55 seconds to get in here.
Yeah.
Just open the back door. Why are you always late?
45 seconds is plenty of time. I'm coming.
Every day the same thing.
Look out, coming through. It's gonna be close.
Meet Tom 3, once again with us here. After the defeat of Ocelot Rex, Tom was able to keep his new shiny body. This time, Tom wants to stay in shape, which is why he's all muscular and seen lifting weights, even though he's made of metal and not organic muscle. Tom 3 has a more human-like voice and mannerisms, an attempt to better connect him with viewers. Tom 3 hosted a blog from 2003 to 2007. But a new Tom also means a new Sarah. Sarah version 2. No longer a floating head on a computer screen, this new ship allows Sarah to become a humanoid hologram. She now acted as Tom's co-host, someone sharing hosting duties while Tom wasn't around. And as you can see up top, her voice actress remains unknown, due to creator Jason DeMarco wanting to keep it that way. Now I want everyone to say hello to the IGPX Absolution Mark II. This was the new ship, introduced on March 17, 2003. After ship's destruction at the hands of Ocelot Rex, it was later rebuilt by the prisoners on Rex's ship. But despite the changes in name and appearance, it still functioned the same as the previous model. But now let's talk shows. This was a time when Toonami was getting ambitious. The folks behind the block had grand ideas of their own. But Cartoon Network didn't exactly see eye to eye with them, but it had an interesting introduction nonetheless. And that's how we got the fourth tie. It was called the Immortal Grand Prix, which aired September 15, 2003. But this tie is a bit different from the others. Unlike the previous ties, this one was a micro-series, which is a mini-series of 5-minute episodes that aired during commercials from Monday through Friday. Basically, the plot was just extreme sports, but in the future, despite being a Toonami event, Tom and Sarah didn't make an appearance, instead taking place in another dimension within the Toonami multiverse. The miniseries even came with a tie-in game found on the Toonami website, though the only way to replay it is through the Wayback Machine. But really, all this I do is serve as a 5-part pilot episode for Toonami's first and only original series, IGPX. Now, IGPX was a collaboration between Cartoon Network and Production IG, which is an animation studio, that served as Toonami's first original anime. The show took place in another dimension within the Toonami universe that was two-dimensional, the second dimension, if you will. For how big and important this show was for the blog, with big-name actors like Haley Joel Osment and Michelle Rodriguez, and a top-tier animation studio behind it, Cartoon Network didn't really care much for it. They switched the show from Toonami to Adult Swim in the middle of the second season due to low ratings, while telling no one about it, and then quietly canceled it. And the future installment side does not look likely. But, on a more positive note, Toonami still had a lot of cool stuff, even some Western cartoons, like Megas XLR. Now, believe it or not, this is the first original American-made series to debut on the blog. There was originally planned to air on Friday nights. We also got Samurai Jack, which sadly didn't get the best treatment on here, but we also have the classic Teen Titans. We also got, for anime, we got the wacky and crazy Boba 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 Boba. This is the nose hair attack. Dragon Ball GT.
Yeah! Let's go!
One Piece. 4Kids version. And we also got some Dash Bros. Okay, so I want to really go on a bit of a tangent about two shows that aired during this time. Mar and The Prince of Tennis. So these two shows have one thing in common. They both got screwed by Cartoon Network in the exact same way. While the time slots are both decent, the network decided to randomly skip episodes, despite both shows being serials with ongoing storylines. Thus, no one could follow the plots. Despite the network starting over from episode 1, it was too late. Ratings tanked, and these shows were removed from both its lineup and online. But you know a show that did get good ratings? Naruto.
Yes, sir!
Naruto ended up becoming the biggest hit for the blog since Dragon Ball Z. It was so popular, Toonami would air countless marathons of the show, which led to some jokingly labeling the block as the Naruto block. And it didn't help that the show ran for many years on Toonami. Now, another show that was popular but didn't get the best treatment was Rurouni Kenshin. It was a more adult show that, while popular, was a lot more fun than Cartoon Network had anticipated. They realized that they should put on Adult Swim instead. So the show was moved from Toonami to the Saturday Video Entertainment System block, whatever that was, without any warning, and it was canceled 62 episodes in of its 95 episodes. Now, let's get into Toonami's only attempt at a live-action work, with 2006's Wooland Warriors.
Oh yeah!
So, for those of you who don't know, Wooland Warriors was Toonami's attempt at taking a pre-existing series and reworking it for American audiences. It was originally a Taiwanese puppet action show named Peely. What's that show, Thunderbolt Fantasy, that Geno Iguchi made? That was all the marionettes and the puppets. It's pretty much like that. That was the big inspiration for that show. So what's the premise of Wooland? Well, let's have the intro shed light in this incredibly complex story.
The Wooland Warriors, selected as children for their exceptional promise. These mighty young warriors have spent their entire lives at my mountaintop academy. As their sensei, I have shown these young men the way of the sword. Their fighting skills have made the Wooland Warriors the pride of Woolin. Lone Sword, Scar, Phoenix. Though still young, they are already 3 of the finest swordsmen Woolin has ever seen. But beyond the academy, things are changing. An aged anger returns to Woolin. A shadow takes hold of the skies. Darkness encroaches. This new threat will force the Woolin Warriors beyond the confines of our mountaintop academy. And eventually, it will force them to call upon a power even greater than themselves. The power of the stars.
I'm on sword with my dragon brother's soul. In my empty hand, it's gonna be dangerous. Oracle trained us at the mountaintop academy. Scaring possibility. People know the doom and Wooland, Lone Sword and Scar. Wooland Warriors. Wooland Warriors.
Oh, it premiered all right. And when it did, Wooland got extremely negative reviews. And was canceled after two of its 14 episodes aired. So if you're curious, all 14 episodes can be found on YouTube. But you didn't hear that from me. So, and the Toonami creators revealed many years later that they were forced to run the show on Cartoon Network. They knew the idea was terrible. They flat out said to the guy who pitched it was terrible, and they showed it anyway. But speaking of bad news, on April 17, 2004, something big happened to Toonami. The schedule changed. No longer was it a weekday afternoon block, but now a block on Saturday evenings. This is due to Cartoon Network wanting a more middle school, high school demographic. So what did take Toonami's place? Magoozy.
Yeah!
Which launched on April 19, 2004. Magoozy was originally an underwater themed block that aired on weekday afternoons, taking Toonami's place. The blog showed more lighthearted content like Code Lyoko and Totally Spies. While Toonami fans complained at the time, the Guzi would still go on to obtain a following of its own and stick around for a few years. Now then, let's talk Jetstream. Toonami Jetstream. Toonami Jetstream was an ad-supported online streaming service that allowed fans to view anime, music videos, game reviews, and more. Launched on July 17, 2006, it was meant to be a replacement for Toonami Reactor after it shut down. It was a collaboration between Cartoon Network and Viz Media. And in a way, Jetstream was way ahead of its time, predating the rise of anime streaming services like Crunchyroll, which had just been established a few months prior as an anime piracy site. Humble beginnings. But all good things must come to an end, as Tom 3 would no longer host Toonami. A teaser was shown, showcasing new Clyde robots along with the date March 17, 2007, and Tom's chest emblem glowing blue. What fans witnessed on that day was something they would never forget.
Showtime. Hey, Flash, give me a go, no-go for launch. In the pipe, 5x5. Word. Gotta go talk to the big guy. Hey, little man, what's up? Ooh, any dents? That's why you're a pro, baby. D, sit rep.
We're in the green. Deck is queued, first break in 6 minutes.
We are go in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to the weird era of Toonami. Meet Tom 4, and taught by the network and Sean Akins to make Tom more kid-friendly. The network wanted to focus on that kid demographic rather than the aging teenage fans that grew up with the show. As a result of that, Tom's personality was in design changed. Compared to the previous Tom models, he was more happier, and now he had a face that resembled Tom's tank engine. You know why the previous hosts didn't have faces? A few reasons, but the biggest one was was cost effectiveness and time. Having a character that lacks a mouth and eyes makes it easy to not only reuse the animation, but also not have to worry about lip syncing. Tom 4 is a different story. Animators now have to painstakingly animate mouth and eye movements, which costs more time and money, something needed for a weekly channel block with a lot of ads. As a result, Tom 4 didn't appear much aside from the intro and a few channel bumpers. Co-creator Jason DeMarco couldn't stand him, citing him as the blog's biggest mistake. Tom Ford hosted the blog from 2007 to 2008. You'll see why later. But by his side was no longer Sarah, but instead Flash and Dee, Tom's new co-host. In terms of personality, they were pretty standard. Flash, the guy up top, voiced by Dave Wittenberg, is the hyperactive, energetic party guy, while Dee, the guy on the bottom, voiced by Tom Kenny, is the calm, collected dude with a very deep voice. Gone was the absolution. Instead, Tom and company hosted from the Flowers 3, which was this giant flower-shaped broadcasting station located on an unnamed planet that was both a desert and a jungle, though we didn't get to see much of the planet besides just a station. However, on March 17, 2007, Toonami turned 10 years old! To celebrate, they played montages and recaps of previous hosts and events, along with airing a marathon of animated comic book movies, including the whole thing with a double feature of Spirited Away and Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. Now, there wasn't really a whole lot of original anime, since it was mostly just reruns of old shows. What original programming there was geared more towards the younger demographic. So we got shows like Bakugan, IGPX, and Mega Man Star Force. Not really suited for the audience of teenagers that grew up with the program. But during the month of September 2008, tragedy struck the hearts of fans. At Anime Weekend Atlanta, the falsifying Toonami announced its cancellation. The block was leaving, but not without saying goodbye.
Well, this is the end, beautiful friends. After more than 11 years, this is Toonami's final broadcast. It's been a lot of fun, and we'd like to thank each and every one of you who've made this journey with us. Toonami wouldn't have been anything without you. Hopefully, we've left you with some good memories. So, until we meet again, stay gold.
Now this was a sad time because Toonami wasn't just an ordinary channel block. All the sweepstakes, all the fan art, it made Tom and friends feel like they were really there, interacting with us, despite being fictional characters. On this day, fans didn't just lose a program, they lost a friend who was there for them when they needed them the most. So how could such a beloved block like Toonami get cancelled? Well, there were many reasons. Contrary to popular belief, it was not endless Naruto reruns, it did the program in. Many fans like to think it is, but it isn't. The primary reason given by the creators was that the ratings were at an all-time low. Not many people were watching the block anymore, either because they weren't a fan of the current lineup, or the once young fans grew up and moved on to other stuff. Another possible reason the block got canceled was that Cartoon Network was going through a bit of a tough spot during this time, in the 2008 economic crisis, as well as spending money on shows that didn't go anywhere. And since Toonami was taking up most of their budget despite not having the ratings to show for it, they pulled the plug. Cartoon Network was also going through a nasty shift in management. After the notorious Aqua Teen Boston bomb scare in 2007, previous head of Cartoon Network, Jim Samples, was replaced by Stuart Snyder, who became infamous for sending the network into a dark age. During Toonami's cancellation, the network's new CN Real blog was in production, which is comprised of cheap reality shows that didn't eat at much of the network's budget. But possibly the ultimate reason was that anime was losing its stride from the West. The anime boom in the early 2000s was no more, and the genre just wasn't as popular as it once was in North America. A blog without a serious audience is seen as a waste of time, a waste of money, and importantly, a waste of space for better shows, so it was swiftly canceled as a result. As a result of the blog's cancellation, all anime was moved to either Saturday nights on Adult Swim or early in the morning before kids had to go to school. Maguzi was later canceled the same year after going through a phase similar to what Toonami went through. Naruto would still be shown, but will later be pulled from the network 7 episodes short of its finale and transitioned to Shippuden. The rights to Naruto will later be acquired by Disney, with Shippuden shown on Disney XD. And Toonami Jetstream later shut down in early 2009, and then the Toonami brand once and for all. Let's go off topic and talk about April Fools, more specifically how Adult Swim celebrates April Fools. You know what movie I love the most? The Room. Every April 1st, Adult Swim would air the 2003 classic, The Room. The Room, for those of you who don't know, is a drama directed by Tommy Wiseau, best known for being so bad it's amazing. However, one April Fool's would be a bit different from the previous ones. On April 1st, 2012, we were expecting Tommy Wiseau's masterpiece, but in for a surprise. To say the fandom majorities would be a huge understatement. So here we have Tom 3.5, a slightly upgraded version of Tom 3. And these were retcons so that Tom 4 would now be a separate character from the Tom we're more familiar with. Anyway, Tom 3.5 got his hosting duties back, and so Tom 4 given him permission to run the show in his place. An April Fool's special was met with acclaim and surprise of many. As a result of the acclaim, Adult Swim launched a Twitter campaign to bring the program back. And unlike most campaigns, this one actually worked.
Sir.
And Tommy would return to television on May 16th, 2012. So Toonami was back, but now exclusively on Adult Swim, and there were some changes that had to be made. Toonami would air only on Saturday nights. This also meant that Toonami would now have to work with a very small budget. Though it wasn't that bad since CGI animation had gotten cheaper and easier to use over the years, and stock animation was easier to reuse. However, the lower budget also meant less crew members and animators. The block ended up being so cheap that it had to be made in the crew's spare time. However, the payoff to all this is that because of the higher age rating, Toonami is now allowed to air more adult content. Think of it like the Midnight Run, but an actual full-length block. Most of the new block shows were reruns of anime that previously aired on Adult Swim. So you got like Bleach, Cowboy Bebop, and Roderick. However, their first original hit became Dead Man Wonderland. And they also show cartoons like Cinematic Titan and the 2011 version of Thundercats, coming full circle. But the Toonami revival was still in full swing, and thus it was time for a bit of an upgrade.
Sarah, how you been?
Hello, Tom. It's good to see you again.
No doubt. Been too long.
Are you ready to begin?
Oh, yeah. I just gotta figure out how to run this new baby.
So Tom got an upgrade. Now he's Tom 5. While he lost his previous muscle definition, he can still put up a fight. He's a bit more profane now, taking advantage of being an adult program block. He's also now a wannabe artist, and occasionally seen painting and writing poetry. Well, just gotta have some hobbies while flying through space. He was also the longest running host since Tom 3, having hosted from Toonami's from 2013 to the end of 2019. But with a new Tom came a new Sarah, who came back after years of absence, this time as a computer program voiced by Dana Swanson. Once again, she's Tom's co-host, but now she can turn into a little holographic pixie in order to participate more in Tom's adventures. There's also the new Absolution Mark III, which was introduced on April 27th, 2013. It was about half the size of a football field, had more weapons and shields than a previous ship, and had a media chamber where Tom would review video games. In terms of shows, we got the Dragon Ball Shuffle with both Dragon Ball Z Kai and Dragon Ball Super. We got Kill la Kill, another popular show, and once that was finished, Parasite took its place and dominated the ratings. Space Dandy also aired. We've introduced simulcast dubs to the block, with dubbed anime are shown simultaneously with the original Japanese airing. Also, finally, Samurai Jack Season 5, where it was given a much better treatment by the network. Now, in the summer of 2018, the insanely popular My Hero Academia debuted in an even larger audience. Some popular shows like Demon Slayer arrived on the scene. And for some strange reason, Pop Team Epic. However, when it came to anime, no show was more hyped at the time as Fooly Cooly Seasons 2 and 3. Dosum decided to fund more Fooly Cooly because that was the favorite anime. Season 2, titled Fooly Cooly Progressive, aired June 2nd, 2018 on Toonami, whereas Season 3 Alternative aired about a few months later. Though the first episode of the season was shown on April 1st of that year in Japanese. While he's returning shows, how about time for a returning character? Because after all, what's Toonami without some Tai? The fifth Tai, The Intruder 2, brought back The Intruder, having not been seen since the first Tai event. This one aired November 7th, 2015. Here, The Intruder returns for revenge, and looking a lot more like Tom 1, and is even voiced by Sonny Strait. The Intruder kills Sarah, and reveals that he killed Tom 4 and stole the coordinates to the Absolution, which is how he got there. Prepared to stop the Intruder, Tom ends up sacrificing his left arm and the entire Absolution. Tom ends up on a planet Shogun 162 for protection. But while there, Tom uploads Sarah's data into a computer, saving her life and continuing on with the regular scheduled programming. However, things weren't all sunshine, because on September 26, 2016, fans received tragic news. The voice actor for Moltar, C. Martin Croker, passed away on September 17, 2016, at the age of 54 from sepsis. In response, Toonami showed a goodbye video explaining Moltar's current whereabouts. But after that loving tribute, came the sixth Tai, The Intruder 3, which aired November 5th, 2016. While trying to relax outside, Tom gets attacked by a group of giant sandworms. While hiding from them, Tom and Sarah discover that the new base was actually a dormant spaceship called the Vindication. While fighting off the sandworms, Sarah discovers that the worms were actually trying to warn them about the destruction of Shogun 162, now starting to die off along with the rest of the worms. While Tom and Sarah manage to escape the planet, they reflect on the lost society of worm creatures. But Sarah was given a baby worm named Georgina as a pet. Look at her, ain't she so cute? On March 17, 2017, Toonami turned 20! To celebrate, they hosted a bunch of sweepstakes that allowed viewers to win official merchandise. During that same year, there was the seventh tie, Countdown, which is November 4th. While talking with Sarah, Tom gets swapped with his future self. Now in the future, Tom finds out that Sarah eventually gets corrupted and attempts to wipe out all organic life. Future Tom travels to the past to prevent the corruption, while present Tom tries to survive the madness that is future Sarah. Future Tom does succeed in saving Sarah, and present Tom is teleported back to the present. Now it will be 2 years until the next tie, The Forge, which aired November 9th, 2019. So one day, the Vindication gets hijacked by a nameless alien commander. As the commander, whom Tom refers to as Booger, explains to Tom, the Vindication is actually a warship, one his race had lost. With the vessel now in his hands, Booger plans to launch a pillage against the entire galaxy for fun. It's also revealed that Booger has been manufacturing Toms to act as his slaves for him and his kind. But with the help of Sarah, Tom's able to start a robot uprising with the assistance of one of the robots, dubbed Tom Jr., and rescue his fellow robot brethren, but all at the cost of himself, because Booger shoots him in the back and fries his circuits. However, Tom gets a spiffy new body and launches Booger out on an escape pod. Unfortunately, Tom Jr. and Georgina have disappeared into hyperspace to escape Booger's men, and may never be seen again. And the Vindication is gone as well. That said, with the Forge now unoccupied, Tom and Sarah are now running the show around here. Say hello once again to the new Tom, Tom 6. A new body Tom acquired after his encounter with Booger. This body is not only bulky, but also more realistically proportioned, while also being combat ready. Tom 6 has been hosting the show since 2019. While Sarah hasn't changed much, that she has been one or two new slide, what did change was their ship. The Forge is a space station originally meant to produce robotic slave labor, but after Booger's defeat and the loss of Vindication, Tom and Sarah decided to reclaim this ship as the new broadcast station. But the only catch is that it can't communicate with outside forces. But hasn't prevented it from showing some awesome cartoons, including the rising superstar Dr. Stone, some Flame Fire Force action, Promised Neverland, which sadly never got a second season, and finally getting to Tarkovsky's masterpiece, Primal also aired. Other shows of note include the anime-esque Ballmasters 9009, from the creator of Adult Swim Super Jail, and for the first time ever, Satoshi Kon's Paranoia Agents aired on Russian television. But what's that I hear? Why, it's tie time! Cosmo Samurai aired on February 6, 2021. It's a non-canon event done in the style of an actual anime, with animation done by Telecom. In this special, Tom and Sarah have been attacked by a space pirate named Okuto, who takes Sarah. Tom's been destroyed, but he's found by the Cosmo Samurai. With the Samurai's help, Tom gets a new body and allies himself in their plan to take down Okuto. But despite Okuto's defeat, his boss Jaku is revealed, leading to Tom and the other samurai, promising to take him down. But then things get crazy. Part 2 of the tie aired on February 20th, 2022, and quite a lot is revealed. First off, the Cosmo Samurai is now suddenly dead. Turns out Jaku has stolen Tom's body and used it to travel back in time to wipe out Edo, Japan, which led to the creation of the Cosmo Samurai, as they were the survivors of Jaku's attack, and that's why they seek revenge. Sarah also traveled back in time alongside Jaku and was able to convince his physicist to transplant his mind into a cat's body. And she was able to convince the Cosmo Samurai to clone themselves as a way to back up their memories in case they would ever die fighting Jaku. And she told them to look out for Tom's remains after the ship will eventually be blown up by the Jaku. So she sort of sets his emotion. And it turns out the physicist Sarah brought in was actually Tom's creator, who's now inside a cat with mind powers. Tom was given a new body by the physicist cat made from antiparticles, and the Cosmo Samurai sacrificed themselves by blowing their memories into Tom's body, allowing him to take on Jaku using their skills. Tom defeats Jaku by throwing a spear so fast that it travels back in time and kills him before he can attack Edo, thus undoing the events of the tie. So yeah, for a non-canon event, they really went all out. But that wasn't it for tie. For you see, 2022 also marked a special year. The year Toonami turned 25. So a better way to celebrate than with a more traditional tie, The Return, which aired March 19, 2022. This is a two-part title to celebrate the 25th anniversary. But here, Tom and Sarah get a surprise visit from an unmanned ship with an outgoing distress call from themselves. Heading to the docking bay, Tom and Sarah find that the ship is none other than the original Absolution in working condition, even though it was blown up in Toonami Endgame. But while the inside of the ship hasn't changed since the late 90s, Sarah discovers that the ship came from 250 years in the future, now going under the Absolution Mark 14. Now, where did the ship actually come from? How did it get here? Doesn't matter, because Tom and Sarah found a way off the forge, so it's back to business. For new shows, we got Attack on Titan's final season. It's been for the course of, 10 parts? So Crunchyroll haven't blown up into an actual legitimate business since 2006, but once a subsidiary of Warner Brothers a while back, which resulted in some of them, their produced anime aired on Toonami, like the Shenmue anime, based on Sega's cult classic game series. But also around this time, several original Adult Swim shows were debuted on Toonami as well. So we got stuff like My Adventures with Superman, and getting to Totovsky's latest show, Unicorn Warriors Eternal. Now who wants more Fooly Cooly? Adult Swim does because they funded 2 more seasons! The first one was Fooly Cooly Grunge, which is kind of a mixed media CG animated season. And the second was Fooly Cooly Shoegaze, which is more traditional. Reception of these were mixed at best. And now, we've caught up with the present. Time is a plot that many hold dear to their hearts, with its characters, setting, interactivity, and programming. The blog introduced many to the concept of anime, and even some old action cartoons they probably wouldn't have watched. It was a very nostalgic program for some, with many sad that it had to go. But fortunately, and according to the creators, Toonami is here to stay. Thanks for coming, everybody. Only Toonami.